Good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. I'm Paul Clark and welcome to my studio. Now, what have I got for you lovely people today? Well, we're going to take a trip to the Algarve in Portugal. Now, it's a place that I've never been before, but stay tuned to the end because we've got details of a lovely little trip there. So, we're going to be painting this little scene of Portugal step by step together. So come and join me. So here is the photo that I've based this on. It's from Pixabay and it's of Lagos in the Algarve, Portugal. Okay, so for today's materials, my paper is some Winsor & Newton. It's a rough texture, 100% cotton, 140 pound, and it's on a block so it won't need stretching, but any decent watercolour paper will do. And my colours today, there's quite a few of them: French ultramarine, cerulean blue, dioxidine purple, cadmium yellow and orange, yellow ochre, green gold, sap green, burnt sienna and Payne's grey, some white gouache, and 3 brushes from my range, 3/4 inch flat, number 12 and number 6 round. Okay, here's the pencil sketch for you, and as always it's free to download from my website, link in the description below. Now I've taken out quite a bit, like these concrete blocks and some of the motorcycles, well in fact all of the motorcycles, and I've made the church into a single tower. Off we go, using my flat brush and clean water, carefully painting around the church. Now this is a mix of cerulean blue and French ultramarine, and I'm purposely painting up to the right hand side of the tower but leaving the left side white. Now for the tower, I'm doing the opposite, putting in the colour to the left, leaving the right side white. And this will help to create a little contrast and bring out the tower. Here I'm dropping in wet some dioxidine purple. Now I'm using a combination of the blue mix and the purple for all the shadows on the buildings. Here for just a little touch of cadmium orange. Why, you ask? Well, just for a little bit of interest. Now I know it's not in the original photo, but today I want to have a bit of fun with the colour and make it into a sort of impressionistic, semi-abstract type of vibe. Clean water again here, and quickly brushing in some yellow ochre. And a little touch of cadmium orange. And I'm just lifting out here to make sure that right side of the tower is nice and light. Now the sky is still wet, so simply dabbing out with a tissue the area that I want the tree to be in. Now for the tree. Now I'm really chucking in a lot of water here. Now it's a really warm day here in the UK and the washes are drying so quickly, so this will really help to keep things moving. So I'm starting off here with some Daniel Smith's green gold, but any yellowy green will do. And then some French ultramarine. And as I said earlier, I'm really experimenting with the colours here, so let's try some dioxidine purple and a touch of sap green, letting all the colours blend and mix on the paper. Next I'm dabbing out with a dry tissue to the shape of the tree below. While I'm letting that dry, I can come back to the road here, and this is just some Payne's grey with some odd bits that I've picked up from my palette. Any colours will do. Let's splat in here a touch of Payne's grey and some French ultramarine, but as I said, use any colours. And here I'm blending the edge with some clean water. So now this top tree is dried, I can work on the lower one, and I'm using all the same colours again, letting them mix on the paper and just do their own thing. Bit of splattering in green, and dropping in darker values on the bottom section. And here, just a little spray of water just to keep things moving. Now you know I'm going to say it, and don't fiddle and muddy up your washes. Keep it fresh and just let the paint work for you. What's the worst that can happen? Well, you can splat up the wall like I've just done. A little dry brush texture here by dabbing on the side of the brush. Now that same purpley blue mix for the shadow under the canopy here, which I could have painted earlier, but hey. Now I've lightly sprayed the road while you weren't looking and continued the shadow flat across the road, mixing together the dark steam purple and the French ultramarine. And this includes the shadow of a tree over here on the right, which you can't see. So by lightly spraying with water first, you can see that I've got some nice soft edges as well as some hard edges, which helps to give that feel of a moving shadow. So over here I'm just putting in some blues and some greys in a simple wash to suggest some distant buildings. Now with some cadmium yellow, and this colour will always look good set against the complementary colours of blue and purple. So now it's time to let this totally dry. So it's a perfect time for a short break and a sip of the national drink. Yep, it's got to be a glass of port. Now for the church tower, and I've now switched to my number 6 brush, and this is some yellow ochre. And I've just added in here a touch of burnt sienna. Same colour here again. Now for the trees, and this is a 50-50 mix of burnt sienna with some French ultramarine. And I'm starting off with my number 12 brush. And now switching over to my number 6 for the finer branches and some shadows on the trunks. So let's put in a few cadmium orange leaves here, but just a few. And then and some French ultramarine. But to be honest, any of the colours we've used so far will work. A few details on the church tower now, but all very loose and suggestive. Now this is a bit of dark sateen purple mixed with a touch of Payne's grey, and again any darkish value will do. Now I'm softening a few edges here with some clean water. Now although this section is in real time, I'm trying not to labour over each line, just simple one-stroke dashes and dots. And if I think I've painted a line too dark, I just drag it out with my finger. Now this is my burnt sienna and French ultramarine mix again, but you could just use some burnt umber. And I think this is one of those advertising sign thingies, and you can paint this any colour you want. So, what do you do with two unwanted dots? Of course, change them into birds. Can't have two, it's got to be three. Now let's get some texture in the road. No more birds wanted, so I'm covering the top and splat away with a cool colour over the grey bit. And a warmer value over the yellow ochre. Okay, so before the final details, I'm just going to soften and blend a few of these hard edges with a damp tissue. And by doing this, you also pick up some lovely texture from the rough paper. So a few little splats here, but only in this closest tree on the left. Doorway with the brown mix again. A few more details here on the church. Don't overwork it, Paul. And the colour I'm using in these final details is quite a strong mix of 50% dark steam purple and 50% ultramarine. Now I just wanted to add a bit more colour into these details rather than use my normal Payne's grey.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me, we're meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
And when painting things like these railings, you don't need to put in every bar. Just leave gaps and leave things for the imagination to fill in. Now finally some white gouache or acrylic for these little dabs of light and sparkle. So here on the reference you can see that lovely yellowy green light. So I'm going to add that in with a little soft pastel. And before you ask, no, I don't bother sealing the painting with any fixative. So there we go, all done. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did and you'll give it a go. Just have a real play around with the colours. Please don't worry about trying to match my colours exactly, just have a bit of fun. So, talking about our little trip that we have planned. Now, if you fancy a bit of music and art therapy, myself and Margot are going to be running art classes on the Costa del Folk in Portugal, Algarve, on the 3rd to the 9th of October this year, 2022. Staying at the stunning Grand Real Hotel right on the beach. I know, it's a tough job, someone's got to do it. So for full details, please look down below in the description. It'll take you directly to the operator's website. And I've got to be honest, I'm really looking forward to it. So please don't forget to do all the usuals, like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment. I do read every single one. And of course, I look forward to seeing you soon for another Watercolour Wednesday. Take care now, everyone. Cheers.